Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ronald Frankl, and I'm going to tell you a little bit today about legal perspectives in the context of tokenization, and also the opportunities and risks associated therewith. I'm actually an Austrian attorney at law and managing partner with Lansky, Ganzger and Partner, which is one of the larger law firms in Austria. I'm personally heading the department, the corporate M&A and also capital markets department of our law firm, and actually capital markets. This area was my entrance door to this whole topic of crypto and blockchain. We actually advise, on the one hand, investors who suffered damages from investing into crypto investment scheme, which turned out to be scams on the one hand. So I would say one of the popular cases, and there was also a lot of media coverage about last year, was the Optioment case, where we represent more than 100 investors. And on the other hand, we also advise companies when they plan to perform transactions in the entire world of blockchain, in particular if it comes to the topic of tokenization or security token offerings. And that leads me to our topic here, namely tokenization. And what is this tokenization? Tokenization is if assets are, or the value, better, the value of assets is converted into a token. If we speak of assets here, I think we have to understand this term in a very wide sense. These are not only, I mean, these can be, on the one hand, real estates, pieces of art, of course, also intellectual property rights, but certainly also projects. Also projects can be tokenized, and the token at the end of the day represents a portion of the value of the underlying asset. That's the sense of it. What is the security token? What is very often people speak about the security token. The security token is a specific type of an asset token, and it is designed in a way that the rights which are granted by this token to the token holder correspond to the rights of a security, which means a token can be designed to correspond to a share, for example, or to a bond, or to any other types of securities. And so this token grants monetary rights, like right to a dividend, but also voting rights or other participation rights. So the opportunity, or I would say the big advantage granted by tokenization, is the possibility or the flexibility to design the token according to the specific needs of the company or the asset, the underlying this token. What is actually the advantage of this tokenization? The advantages are, of course, that we can make use of the smart contract execution, and fast digital transfer of ownership is possible, which that does not only mean that, for example, ownership in an asset, or let's say the portion of an asset, is possible in a very fast way. It does also mean that any kind of proceeds stemming from these underlying assets, think of, for example, rental payments from a real estate, or if we think of companies, dividends, for example, can be, the distribution of all these proceeds can be done in a very, very efficient way using smart contract and blockchain technology. We also have reduced barriers of entry to this whole world, because we don't need intermediaries comparable to the ordinary world, because no investment banks are necessarily needed, which results in lower costs. We also have the possibility that investors intending only to invest very small amounts can participate in an asset of a very, very high value. We have lower investment costs, and of course, no geographical boundaries here. What are relevant cases, in our view, for the tokenization, of course, capital raising. Capital raising, we believe that tokenization gives the possibility in particular to SMEs, but also to startups, to companies which do not want and don't have the funds to, let's say, have high expenses for any kind of capital raising measure. So a tokenization with its lower costs gives a very, very good possibility to SMEs and startups for raising capital. But it's also possible for an exit, a method of exit. If you think of, you can make a tokenization and a security token offering and thereby exiting the company in whole or in part, for example. There is also the possibility to finance entire projects, like events, for example. There is the idea and the concept of a project, of an event, and people can take part of that, can buy tokens, and thereby funding the implementation of this entire project. So you see, at the end of the day, tokenization can be a very, very high developed method of crowdfinancing. But of course, this is also associated at the moment with some risks. Why? Because the regulatory environment, in particular in Europe, has not been developed for all sectors relevant in this respect. In particular, if we speak about the secondary market. As long as we speak about the security token offering, the classic capital market law would apply. But in the moment the tokens are offered and the tokens are, let's say, traded, then there is no real legal regime applying to this stage, which means there is no kind of supervision to trading, and there is no transparency comparable to any kind of companies which are listed to a stock exchange, which means that market abuse, for example, insider trading, or market manipulation, I mean in an analogous way, of course, in the trading of token, would be possible and not a crime yet. So, and this leads also to the next topic, namely the challenges. There is still a lot to be done by the legislators to create smart laws applicable to this whole field and making it possible to really exploit the full potential of this whole world. Because without the proper regulation in this respect, I don't believe that it is really possible to fully exploit these all opportunities. It's important to define the terms, tokenization, coins, tokens, and whatever, as legal terms, and to have a regulatory framework comparable to the capital market and also comparable to a stock exchange law, but of course in a way which is smart, not ending up in an over-regulation of this entire field, because this could of course have a very negative impact on this whole world. At the end of the day, also for public registers, like commercial registers and land registers, they could benefit a lot from this whole technology. There are already some countries which use the blockchain technology for land registers, and this can really give also to the public services a big benefit. At the end of the day, there is also the challenge to create a wide awareness of all the potentials and all the opportunities we all can get from this entire field. So also we as advisors, we see our role versus our clients, versus people who come to us with their ideas to create this awareness and to also support them in, let's say, exploiting the full potential of this entire world, both in the legal respect and also in the strategic respect. And so if anyone has an idea here or has a project idea or a project, so please come to me and talk to me or send me an email. Thank you very much for your attention.